All right, what is going on, everyone, and welcome back to more Black Desert. So today we're going to be doing a little bit of sailing, and I think it's different. So a while ago I made a video basically going over the basics of all the life skills, and one thing I wanted to show you guys was how to go about sailing, some tips and tricks I can give you guys, whether you're interested in starting or just getting into it in general, or like trying to go for a goal like upgrade your ship or something. So yeah, one thing I wanted to basically do today is go over some bartering and how it works in general, and then we're just going to do like our standard route. So once we get set up, I'll show you how it works, and let me just make sure to get some stuff real quick. So what we're going to be doing is basically going down to Hakavin Island and showing you how everything is working. All right, hold on. Let me just check something. Basically, it's like Dora the Explorer. You match the picture and you get money, and then it's all good. Okay, so we need a caterpillar and just pick another one. Maybe take another one of these and a dragon. Cool. So, people have been asking, when you're thinking about getting a Carrick, which one is the best one to get? And that really depends on what you're going for or your goal as a sailor is, right? So, I'll go over, first of all, the different kinds of Carricks you can get and how you go about getting them. And then we'll talk about more of the details on like what they're used for. So, if you are going for a Carrick, step one is get a ship registration. Now, back in the day, when I had to do it, I had to do dailies to get it. So basically, in Portaferia, let's see, let me show you. Down here, there's a daily quest where you have to bring boxes to the like wharf, and then you just do that for like 30 days. And then they'll give you like a option to get materials. So I think I actually still have some left over. I can show you. Yeah, these things. So you get one of these daily, and then it'll allow you to build your own like frigate or a sailboat. So basically, yeah. Either way, there's 4 Carricks. We have the Valor. And the reason why I have the Valor is because technically it is the more damage option. So if you enjoy doing sailing dailies and just killing sea monsters, in theory it should be better. Then there's the Volante, which is the other version of the frigate, which the frigate turns into Volante and Valor. The Volante is technically a faster one, but does less damage. And so, at the end of the day, they're mostly the same until you start getting blue Carrick gear. That's when the branch off happens, and you start to see the difference in the boat you picked. But if you're at like full green gear, they're for the most part the same. Actually, enhancing blue gear is pretty difficult. Well, not difficult, just very time consuming, to the point where it's like actually enhancing like regular gear from like pet to pen and something at the higher levels. So I guess nowadays it's a little bit easier, but the reasoning why it's time consuming is creating the materials. So you need like these fiery blackstones, and then you need to get the workshop and then make the sunset blackstones, and then this is how you make the blue gear, then enhancing it. So let's go talk about the sailboat route. So when you go for the Carrick for that, you make the advanced or the balanced. And I think that what like the sailing community says one of them is better than the other. I don't remember which one, but one is more of a balance of speed and weight. The other one is more for weight. So if you enjoy bartering, you want the weight one. If you enjoy a mix of sailing and like sea monster hunting plus bartering, then you go for the balanced, I believe. But I think people just like the weight one more. And then once you have the frigate version, which is Vala and Volante, that's where like there's no, well, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer in any of them. I think it's just more tailored to what you plan on doing. So don't worry about messing up your choice, because like there's no easy way to mess this up. You have to like go through a lot of confirmation stages in like 2 months or maybe a month of dailies. And so by that point, you kind of already have a goal in mind. And so it's very hard to screw this up. But overall, it sucks that like all the boats look the same. The only difference, like I personally have the skin on the one that you can buy on the Pearl Shop, and we bought it just to like see what it looked like. Is it worth it? Not really, to be honest. So the way you can tell the difference between people's boats is like there's a like emblem thingy at the front, or like the statue, and it tells you what kind of boat people have. So that's the one way to look at it. But overall, is sailing actually worth it? That's probably the biggest question. Sailing and bartering, I guess let's combine those two. And I personally think that sailing is getting slowly buffed, but is it really worth it? Not really. I think it's one of those goals that you have in the game where, like, I know people come from traditional MMOs where you just grind and get the best gear, you do the biggest or like latest dungeons and everything, and then sailing is not technically like that, but it's in its own way progression, because you start off with the first boat you can buy, and then currently your goal is to get the Carrick and all the best gear, which is blue gear at plus 10, right? And from my experience, that is actually very time consuming. And when I was going through my dailies, I think you can actually watch the series on the channel. I remember documenting a lot of it. I was like, oh, okay, I'll just do like an hour or two of sailing, and then I'll go back to grinding, do whatever. And what really ended up happening was I spent most of my time in the ocean, because I'll show you how all this works in a second. Let me auto path it real quick. Okay, so basically when you're going for a new boat, you have to get a lot of materials, right? So one tip I would give all of you guys is separate your storages. Even if you spend money and then get it, you still have to separate them. So here's what I do. Ilia Island right here, the little northeast of Velia. You want to make this one your storage for all your trade and barter materials, right? And the reason why is because there's a lot of them, and so you want to make sure those are separate. And so when you go for upgrades on your boat, it requires different materials. So I personally use Port of Feria because this is like the central hub for other things as well. So these are all materials that are required to upgrade your boat. They're all used for various different things, and you're just going to need a lot of it. So overall, you're going to need a lot more than the maximum number of inventory, weight, storage, and so that's one tip I can give you guys. You make sure to separate your barter and sailing, like boat materials, and it'll be a lot better. So next, what else should you do in advance? Like, let's say you're going through your month of dailies and you want to know what are some things that you should start now, and you'll be glad you did. So let's say your goal is the Carrick, right? There are materials that you need early on, such as these blueprints and starlight powder. And these nodes right here, like this one, this one, this one, and this one, you want to start connecting these earlier on, because they have a workshop, or I guess the excavation node, as we all know, and it gives the starlight powder. And so having those early on will allow you to get your Carrick gear like the green Carrick gear to +10 before you even have it. And then once you have it, like, let's say the minute you get your Carrick, right, you can have gear ready to go. Because if you are going from like the frigate or sailboat at blue +10 gear, it is actually better to have blue +10 gear of the lower tier boat like frigate or sailboat over +0 green gear at Carrick. So you want to just kind of prepare in advance and have green gear already, or even blue gear. I mean, you could technically do that before you have a Carrick. Reason, I wouldn't recommend it because you have to go out into the ocean and fight saltwater crocodiles, and that was actually pain. And I don't really think people make any silver there. You're grinding exclusively for blue Carrick boat gear, and it's actually kind of annoying because in the ocean, where at least where the saltwater crocodiles are, the weather is like always raining and dark, and that's like the hardest thing when you're just out in the middle of nowhere. It's actually kind of scary. I might have a video, or we might do a new one in the future. Whenever the new region comes out and is all the way by Old Port Rat, I think we're going to revisit it and see if it's a lot better, but who knows. So yeah, getting gear, getting the green gear, all that requires is doing a lot of bartering. So bartering and sailing are actually connected in a way, because you get these things called crow coins, right? And then let me get past this little like rock, because I might get stuck on something. Once we get it straight, then I'll show you exactly where. And then after that, we'll talk about sailors and the benefits for all of them. Okay, so I think we're good. Okay, so over here is Ilia Island. Over here is Lima Island. And there's an NPC by the dock right around here. And that'll allow you to spend your crow coins and buy various things. So basically that vendor sells green gear, right? And then like kind of like this one, I think it's about like 10,000 coins or something. I don't remember unless they changed it. It's been over like 3 years since I've had my Carrick. So yeah, you buy them and then you basically enhance it to +10 using the materials. So pretty straightforward. If you know how to enhance like normal gear, it's kind of the same thing, just different materials. Works the same way. Fail stacks are also involved. And is it for green gear? Actually, I know for blue gear, like you actually have to use like big stacks for each upgrade, and that's what makes it rewarding when it does click. And so yeah, after that you basically barter a lot, and then you get materials for your boat upgrade. And so a lot of things that I personally can tell you is your bottlenecks will probably be the brilliance. So yeah, brilliant pearl shard, salt rock, and red artifacts. So if you do your dailies, the Achilles Eye dailies, here's what I'd recommend doing. You start here. This is actually a node, but I haven't done these in a while. What you're gonna want to do is start with the Ocean Stalkers, and then you go to the Heckers, and then the third quest is going to require you to do what is it, Black Rust and everything. So the dailies are kind of tedious, to be honest, but here's one tip that I can tell you guys. If you have a frigate or sailboat and you're doing the Aquila dailies every day, and you're finding that it takes you like an hour or maybe more, well, actually, it's like 30 to 40 minutes on a Carrick, at least when I did it. And then if you have a frigate, it's probably longer. What you could do is take your friends who have a Carrick, and all you have to do is basically be in a platoon or party, and then be on their boat when they kill it. And then it gives you credit. So even if you don't have a Carrick, if you have a friend that does and they do it, just like sit on their boat or something while they do it, and you still get credit for it. And trust me, the time you save is actually pretty huge. So that's one tip I could give you guys. Otherwise, use your coins smartly. And I know people are like, oh, you could just buy the bottlenecks with the coins. And technically, yes, you can. But the value for it is not that good. Like if you're missing 1 or 2 pieces to just save a daily, yeah, sure, you could buy it. But if you're like trying to buy 30 of them, that is definitely not worth it. You can actually turn crow coins into silver, because you can buy like monos accessories and then obviously sell it. But then there's a lot of things to do with it. So overall, there's a lot of things to do with sailing. There's actually like a Google Doc somewhere on the internet that I remember reading. I should warn you, if you find that Google Doc somewhere, it's like 130 pages. And then of course, no one wants to read that. That's why I'm making these videos, to give you like basic tips. Obviously, I could go into a lot of detail on best routes for sailing, how to do dailies, how to upgrade your ships. But I think the relevant information that people need, I think I could talk about, which I might do another updated video that's like more detailed. But I just wanted to go over the basics today and show you how to do it. So basically, you put materials on your boat. Don't overweight yourself. Go to the node, hit the barter button, and then you trade your item for the coins. And then here's how you do other barters. So what I'd recommend most people doing is, if you are actually serious about pushing like a Carrick, I would do 2 ship materials. I think all you can do is 2 of each a day. And then make sure not to so you can like instant refresh it, but it costs more. You want to min-max your time and make sure not to instant refresh. You're gonna have to wait the 4 hours, which is why I thought it was very time consuming. And usually I don't sail that much anymore, so I'm more open to doing that. Ew, that's gross. A Hakovin 61. By the way, eventually later on you'll start to realize what materials are worth bartering for and what's not worth doing. So what you don't want to do is the instant trade, but I do it just because I don't sail that much anymore. So Hakovin is the one that gives a lot of coins. It gives like between 1 through 600. Usually they're not, you want to take the higher amounts, but I mean, I'll take it for the same thing. All right, so then what I do is usually I cycle back. Actually, hold on. Yeah. So that's how you get your coins. And that's just a very basic tip for that one. Some other tips I can give to people is learn the wind currents and directions. I know the whole UI is messed up and everything. So basically, you see these numbers right here? It'll tell you the wind direction and the waves of the ocean currents. The lower number means better, and ultimately this doesn't really mean anything up until you get out into the ocean past like I guess past, once you stop seeing the map and it's like past this line right here or something, like past here, you don't see a map. And then that really starts to matter once you're in the ocean, because your boat goes slower. But as a basic tip I can give you, if you are going like from left to right, it's better. But if you're going from right to left, it's slower. So if you're doing ocean like bartering out here, what you're gonna want to do, well, actually I've never seen this node before. I don't think I've seen that one. But what you're gonna want to do is go from here and do this. Like if you decide to go like the Hekaru and then Ocean Stalker into Margoria bartering, what you're gonna want to do is go up from here and then do your barters in a counterclockwise, and then eventually you'll end up going down, collecting all of these, and then you'll be back like here, 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 and then that way, and then back to the Achilles Eye. So those are some basic tips I can give you. Obviously, watch your numbers, and then if you are grinding, let's say you're doing like sea monster huntings or going to Vel in general, or just a more fighting the aggressive ones. This is actually kind of difficult, to be honest. It's like you can do it solo, but it's probably better to do it in a group. So yeah, just look at your numbers, know when to fold and unfold your thing. Basically, for example, you fold if you're going to Vel, like for example this way, going up, it makes your boat go faster, and then when you're going from Vel to back or something, then you unfold. But yeah, a lot of little tips and tricks I can give you for sailing. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And with that said, I'm only going to be sailing backwards and finishing up the rest of my barters. So if you enjoyed this video, drop a quick like. I know sailing might not be the most interesting thing, but hopefully you can learn something. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. But with that said, I'm out. So thanks so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace.